on a little early today because we got a bridge lift. I checked the webpage and looks like they're lifting the drawbridges. We got a beautiful sunshiny day, and I say that even though it's probably 39 degrees because yesterday we had snow squalls, thunder snow, all kinds of interesting activity, and so this sunshine isn't that bad. We got a little wind here. Here we're crossing Michigan Avenue right here at Lake Street. Hey Kitty, hey Mary Therese, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being on. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to determine where they're at because supposedly this started today at 9:30. Hey Wes, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. We're hoping to see the bridges lift today. Maybe they're already over to the South Branch. I don't know. I was trying to look out the window to determine where they were at in the process, and we'll figure it out here because I'm heading over to the river, and we'll see if we see any bridges lifted. I don't see anything up in the air right now, and so this might all be a big letdown. If I shouldn't even say they're lifting the bridges until I actually see them up in the air here. So we'll see where they're at, and if not, we'll still get scenes of the city. We got a nice sunshiny day. Yeah. Hey, the way I roll. How's it going? Van by the river. We'll see if we can find Chris Farley. But they might have made good progress today. If I don't see anything. I don't see any trains. I don't see any bridges. But I checked the webpage, and they said they were lifting the bridges today. So we'll head over to the river and see what we see. I may have missed it. They may have started so early that they cruised on through here. And yeah, we'll be good today. I'll make sure I stay outside of the jeweler's building. Sorry about that yesterday, Mary Therese. I know we'll respect the security of the building here, but it's a beautiful building. They're managed and leased by Deuce Management there, DUS. There's some sirens here. There's Here comes a fire marshal, I think, heading down Wacker Drive here. Yeah, heading this way. So we'll go by McCormick and Schmick's Seafood and Steaks. I've eaten here before. It's a decent place. They have outdoor seating, but they got it all inside right now. And yeah, it's a little bit cold today, but yeah, sun's shining. We'll see if they're lifting any bridges here. They must be down to the South Branch already because they might have already made it to Lake Street. I think when we did this whole process, maybe they're not lifting the bridges today. Let me get across the street here. We'll cross State Street. There we go, look at that. It's looking south on State Street. What I'm trying to do is get over to the South Branch as quickly as I can. We'll blow by. That's why I'm not taking the Riverwalk, because it's actually faster to go straight. I could have went down Lake Street on the L tracks, but I had hoped to see some of these bridges up, but looks like they already went past all these bridges. And I don't know what the oldest street in Chicago. If you look at the old, well, okay, so from my perspective, you know, I always go back to the Native Americans, the Potawatomi, and then the French fur traders came. Oh, There's ice. Oh man, look at that. There's ice falling off. There's chunks of ice falling off the Leo Burnett building here. You see these pieces of ice? See, they got constant falling ice. It shows you how you don't want to get hit with a big chunk of ice. Here, we'll cross, we're over to Airborne. Okay, so the oldest street is the river. The river was the first thoroughfare through here. John Baptiste Point du Sable, Kinsey, Balbine had his hotel, the Saguenage. It was over there by the confluence. And, you know, the Jean Baptiste Point du Sable, Balbine were with the French culture. There was Olmet. Olmet was with the French culture. He had a Potawatomi wife, just like Jean Baptiste Point du Sable. And then Kinsey came with the American culture. Wells was part of the American culture, but he was his family was killed by the Miami tribe. When he was a kid, he was adopted by the Miami tribe. He was bilingual. He had Miami wives, and he was associated with Little Turtle, who was the chief of the Miami Indians. This is before the War of 1812. He died in the War of 1812. Fort Dearborn was built where Wacker in Michigan, and so Michigan Avenue is named Michigan because that's where Lake Michigan, the shores of Lake Michigan, used to lap up against Michigan Avenue, where Grant Park is. Grant Park was all expanded to the south. There, let's see. Lake Street. Okay, good. So Lake Street, which is a block south of us, would be, and this was Wacker. Water Street used to go, there used to be a row of buildings that the backside of the buildings fronted the river. They tore those buildings down to build Wacker Drive. And so Water Street was widened. Water Street used to be like where the sidewalk is and where this part is, where the median is. There were buildings that actually fronted the river, and they tore all those buildings down to build Wacker Drive. When they widened Wacker Drive, made it 2-level, that was part of the Burnham Plan, 1909. And so probably, yeah, you're right. Lake in Michigan. Lake's probably the oldest street east-west. And remember, Michigan north of the river used to be called Pine. Michigan Avenue was wide north of the river. Pine was a narrow street like Rush Street. Rush Street used to be called Green Bay. There was the Green Bay Road would connect with, and it kind of angled over. That's why Rush Street kind of angles over. And maybe it wasn't Rush. Maybe there was another street called Green Bay that kind of went through the Gold Coast. But Clark Street, okay, so again, I go back to the Potawatomi. Okay. The Native American trail that followed the ridgeline north was Clark Street. It branched off to Broadway, became Ridge Road. Why is Ridge Road called Ridge Road? It followed the ridge line between the water that flowed into Lake Michigan and the water that goes into the Chicago River, the North Branch. And so it followed that ridge. Clark Street kind of followed the ridge Broadway. That's why Broadway and Clark angle around. So those are old streets. Milwaukee Street was a plank road. Milwaukee Street was a wooden plank road that ran at a 45-degree angle. That's why Milwaukee, Clybourne, Elston's kind of an old street too on the north side. I don't know about the south side. I guess Blue Island runs at an angle. That probably was a Native American trail, just like Ogden. That's why they run at angles. And they would follow, you know, try to follow Lucy Fall. Vincennes is an old street. Vincennes on the south side, it runs at an angle. That's how you can tell. And because Vincennes goes back to the French, you know, trading posts back there in the old days. Vincennes goes back to the French, just like Terre Haute. Vincennes is older. There's towns down there by St. Louis, St. Gerardo. Is that what they call that? Port Gerardo. There's a down by the mounds there, Cahokia and all those places, and even Peoria is pretty old because they don't even know if Jean-Baptiste Pointe-du-Sable lived in Peoria briefly or not. No one knows for sure. But here we're still trying to see if any of the bridges are open. I'm missing a bunch of comments. Good afternoon. St. Michael's predates the fire. Yeah, St. Michael's an old church. Yeah, and so same with Holy Family. Holy Family Church survived the fire. I think Daly's Church down there on the south side. There's many churches on the south side and west sides that survived the fire because the fire didn't burn that way. So some of the oldest churches. There's the L going by the pink line. But hey, see, I'm just trying as fast as possible to get down here to the South Branch, see if we see any bridges that are still open. I probably missed all these bridges opening because I was working this morning. I thought about cutting out early, but I just cut out 10 minutes early here. And so we'll go down and see if we can see any of these bridges still open. If not, we'll just cut back through the loop. The pink line is going across Lake Street, so, and here's the, look, both directions. We got brown lines going north and south. I think it's both those are brown lines going across Low Street. We'll head across Orleans here. And there's this great view to the Sears Tower. Welcome to Chicago. Thanks for the YouTube walk here, joining us. And I'm just rushing to get over to the South Branch here to see if any bridges are still open. And I see no evidence of them opening any of these bridges. I know just because the webpage said they were opening doesn't mean they were opening them. So we'll know here in a block. I can't even tell anything because I'm just rushing to get over here as fast as I can. Thanks for the good help with the history there. But of course, you know, I grew up southeast Indiana, so I knew a lot about Cincinnati's history. Cincinnati's older than Chicago. St. Louis is older than Chicago. New Orleans is older than Chicago. Chicago was a new up-and-comer, and it was mainly because of its geographic location. When they started building the canals, they realized it was going to be an important strategic spot. Even the French did. And then once the railroads, it really concentrated a lot of capital. A lot of New York money came in here to invest, including Ogden and, you know, some of the initial investors in Chicago. Here, we'll try to get, here we're at Lake and Wacker, over on the western side of the loop here. We'll see which way we get the light to cross here. This is a weird light. But here's the confluence. Piper's Alley. Bazaar, yeah, the Bazaar. Piper's Alley, there was all kinds of interesting stuff. And see, this is a weird light. I'm not usually on this side of it here. I think we're gonna cross here, yeah, so we'll cross south here. We'll get across to the other side of Wacker. Here's where they got the old wigwam, the site of the wigwam which Abraham Lincoln was nominated for president. It was on this, where 191, this block of Wacker Drive. Actually, I want to get across. Let's cross Wacker Drive here so we can film this. I filmed this before. The site where the wigwam, Abraham Lincoln was nominated for president in 1860. It actually was right over there, but they got this marker here. So we'll cross behind these cars here and see if we can. This Tesla's they can't even make the turn here. Train going by. But here we'll be able to tell where we get here. I haven't been able to give you any information about where they're at, if they're lifting any bridges or not. Let's look down here. See, I don't see any bridges lifting at all. So I do see some sailboats down there, so it looks like they're down maybe to Washington. It looks like, yeah, there are some sailboats, so they really made good progress. They're already down to Washington, making their way towards Madison. Maybe they're going to lift Madison next. It looks like they're south of Washington Street, so they are lifting. I see some sailboats, so they are doing bridge lifts today. We just missed most of it because I started later, so we'll head south. We'll try to get them lifting some bridges here. We got 1208. Got trains going by. That's what the loud noise is here. We'll leave Lake Street. Thanks for the good discussion. I just made a beeline as fast as I could to get down here, and that's why we didn't see much along the way over here, but we can cut out this footage. It'll still be valuable. There are sailboats. Looks like they did already make really good progress early this morning in the sunshine. And yeah, St. Augustine. I like talking about St. Augustine. You know why? I get to talk about the Melungeons. And to me, the chapter left out of all our history books, it explains so much from my perspective. Of course, the early colonial history we're taught in America is from the British colonial perspective. We leave out the many Spanish, and we got a lot of wind here, so it's probably hard to hear me. We leave out a lot of the Spanish colonial history with the Native American history, which needs to be taught more in schools from my perspective, along with the early, how it affects the African Americans that were brought over here by the Portuguese, 1619. I'm not trying to add more controversy with, I know it's very controversial about the 1619 project. And here we got the light here, so hey, we got the bridge lifting here, so good. Let me rush to get across the street. This is what I've been rushing down to get. They're already down south of the Civic Opera building. They're opening the Madison Street Bridge south of the Civic Opera House. There, you can see it in the background there. We'll walk down. We're going by. We're Boeing. There's the Lucia going by. This is the Bank of America building. I'm running the live stream today off my 4G Wi-Fi hotspot connection, and so far it hasn't cut out yet, right? Once, so we're making progress there. There's the Washington Boulevard Bridge. They're opening the Madison Street Bridge, so we'll follow this south. You see the top of the Sears Tower, Willis Tower. Here we're by the Bank of America building, and then we'll go by Riverside Plaza and get you nice views of the bridge and the sailboats. I usually don't film this perspective because we usually see it from the main branch there. That's where we were at last Wednesday. But hey, thanks for joining. Welcome to Chicago. We're over on the south branch of the Chicago River. Look at the water dripping. There's a lot of snow melt coming off these skyscrapers and snow falling. This is the Washington Boulevard Bridge here. And look how we can see the sailboats off in the distance. I'm heading towards there. I've been rushing this entire live try to get to this point. We're Ogilvy, the train shed for Ogilvy stations there. That's where all this traffic's going through. Here's the Civic Opera House. Look at this nice view. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, see, he said put me on the live. We put him on the live. Welcome to YouTube. See, some people want to be on camera, other people don't want to be on camera. It's always the struggle to find out which is which. But here, as soon as this traffic stops, if it ever stops, the endless flow of traffic, because the traffic's heavy on Washington here because they got the Madison Street Bridge in the upright position, and I want to cross the street desperately. I'm just waiting for the traffic to end here, and we'll go behind this guy. There we go. So we'll make it across here. Now we'll go on Riverside Plaza. This, of course, is built on air rights. I took you underneath here, the train tracks for Union Station go underneath this plaza. And look, there's the sailboats. Look, there's a good group of sailboats. Plaza, you can enter Ogilvy Station this way. We've done that before. And see, we're across from the Civic Opera building here in Chicago. They've used this in Citizen Kane. So let me get around here. It's just, I feel like I've been chasing these boats all morning just to get to this point, and they made really good progress. Hey Chris, thanks for being on. Tara, Michael, I know I'm missing a bunch of yeah, people want to deny history. I'll do a whole series of stuff I've learned about the Melungeons, but we'll do it some other time because we're filming the bridges and I don't want it to be the background of this video. People will be all confused. What's this guy talking about? This group of people we never heard about that are related to the Native Americans, the African Americans, and the Spanish colonial St. Augustine. There was a St. Helena colony that was a failed Spanish colony like Roanoke. People got marooned, enslaved people got marooned in America. Look, the bridge is coming down. Welcome to Chicago. Here's the Madison Street Bridge here, and all the people have gathered to watch the sailboats. They're heading across here, so we'll use this opportunity to cross the street here. Look at the nice bridges coming down here. This is the Madison Street Bridge here in Chicago. Thanks for watching on YouTube. You see how there's Ogilvy. And if you've seen any of the protests for the Palestinians, they usually gather across from the Israeli consulate, which is in the building across from Ogilvy. But here's 10 South Riverside. We'll see. I want to catch Monroe Street Bridge is up in the air. I've been chasing these boats all day. I'm out of breath. He's just taking me along to this 9, 10. I count at least 10 sailboats. Look at this nice view. We're opposite the Mercantile Exchange. There's the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower. Bascule Bridge is here. There's a drawbridge. They got it in the upright position so these boats can travel south all the way to Chinatown. They got to go through 29 bridges, and they're about over halfway through, I guess. They've probably gone through at least a dozen bridges to get to this point, maybe more. And you can count, if you count all the drawbridges between Lake Michigan and this point. And they've already turned south on the South Branch of Chicago River. There's the Monroe Street. Are we streaming okay? Good. Yeah, don't let Captain Mike, maybe Captain Mike's on another boat. Yeah, they seem to be doing better. I see less traffic with the tour boats here. And all the architectural truths I don't see. I just see sailboats, which is probably helping out. You see how the river's a little narrower at this point than it is the main channel. We're across from the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower here. And this is 10 South Riverside. Look at the, here, we'll pause here, let these people go by. Look at the Monroe Street Bridge in the upright position. And we can cross the street here. See, they got the gates down. They got the gates down for the pedestrians. That's the sidewalk we usually walk across when we go over to the Union Station sometimes. Look at that. Look at the bridge. Look at that. So here, let's get on the other side here. 120 South Riverside. Look at the Sears Tower. We'll get up here and we'll get a better view of the sailboats. So now I can catch my breath. This whole time I've been brushing to get to this point to catch up with these sailboats, because you see how far they made it. We're 12:17 in the PM here in Chicago Central Time. Here's the sailboats working their way through the South Branch here. Yeah, Whistling Dixie, Cal Sag, you're down by Alsip. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of history down there. Look, they're lowering the Monroe Street Bridge. We're catching it just in time. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to the lifting of the drawbridges. We're the first day of November here, 2023. There's several harbors in the lake. There's any number of harbors. These mostly go to either Monroe Harbor. A lot of sailboats more in Monroe Harbor because they have buoys and they got to use boat tenders to go out to their boats because there's not docks. They just float out there in the harbor and spin around on their buoys. And then there's DuSable Harbor, which has piers, so they're tighter in, but sailboats can moor there because there's not a bridge. and then you can go up to Belmont Harbor. Belmont Harbor has some sailboats, and then there's Burnham Harbor, which is by the, you know, when we ride out to Northerly Island, when I take a bike ride out to Northerly Island, there's a large harbor across from McCormick Place there where Soldier Field is. Montrose, there's a harbor at Montrose. So any one of those harbors, the boats might be from different harbors. They might not have all, a lot of it's municipally ran. You know, you got to pay to get your boat slip or your buoy. And that's a good question here. Nah, let's play bridge. Let's play bridge. Yeah, Diversey Harbor, because you might not, there's no sailboats that moor in Diversey Harbor, because there's a bridge that you have to go under, a low bridge at DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Look how fast they're letting people back across. They just lowered that bridge, and as soon as it gets down, they can lower the gates and cars and people can start walking across the bridge. Isn't that amazing? But there, look at this. They already got the Adams Street Bridge open. This whole time I wasn't even filming it. That's how fast they got it up. But yeah, Diversey sailboats can't moor there because they're masked. They can't get under. There's a bridge to Lakeshore Drive over there. So here, let's follow these boats. We'll head towards Adams Street. Look at these nice sailboats here, and look at, yeah, they're in the canyon of skyscrapers here. South Branch of Chicago River, and we'll follow them as they head towards between Adams and Van Buren here. Yeah, there's a lottery. I didn't know there was a 5-year wait list. You could probably go down to some of the 31st Street Beach, and there's not as long. There's a 5-year wait for certain harbors, but Monroe Harbor you can usually always get in because it's so large, and you know. But some of the other ones, probably DuSable and Burnham, there's a wait list. I agree. And Belmont Harbor certainly has a wait list, I'm sure, as does Montrose. But here we are at Adams Street. This is where Union Station. You enter Union Station. We've gone through here before. Yeah, the river looks muddy and brown. Look at this nice view. Let me get back here. There's some dogs. And yeah. Let's get up here to the rail here. We'll get a nice view of the Adams Street Bridge here. The sailboats going by. They're really moving. They're really making good progress today. I'm amazed. They're further along today than they I guess because, you know, that's why we saw that boat accident last time. They were delayed by the opening of some of those other bridges. But look at that. And see how on the western side of the river here, these interconnected plazas really make it easy to get nice viewing spots for. Look at that. Look how nice that looks. The Adams Street Bridge here. Welcome to Chicago. Lifting of the bridges, November 1st, 2023, day after Halloween. And thanks to anybody that tuned in last night for the nice Halloween parade. We went up to Halstead. It was nice. I cut out the footage. It's on TikTok if you want to check it out. And a lot of great costumes. People respond to comments who won. I didn't stick around for they were going to, you know, pick the winners. There comes a tour boat, so maybe there's trouble, but I don't know. Look at the, look at this view looking north. Yeah, not as much traffic. North on the South Branch of the Chicago River. Does that make any sense? And we're between Adams Street Bridge. They're going to open the Jackson Boulevard Bridge right there as they head south towards Chinatown on their way to winter storage. Look at these great sailboats here. You can see how we're right across from the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower, 311 South Wacker. And then that building has the map. There, let's go. They're opening the Jackson Boulevard Bridge here. Look at this. Ramming speed. Oh, yeah, thanks for tuning in to check out beautiful scenes of the city. I appreciate everybody for being on today. And, of course, this is being recorded, so you can watch it in the live reruns there if you missed anything. And appreciate people for being on the live and making comments. That's great. Look at that. Look at the Jackson Boulevard Bridge lifting right there. Scenes of the city. This doesn't happen every day. Look, everybody's got their winter coats on. We got about 40 degrees. There's a Windella boat. It's parked to the side. See, that boat's waiting now, and you see how it's actually waiting, which is nice. It's nice that it's waiting for these boats. There, look at that. As soon as they get high enough, they start traveling through. Yeah, you parked yours in the driveway. That's the easiest way to do it. Yeah, if you got a place to store your boat, save money, park it on your own land. Yeah. Look at this. It's like a regatta. Look at these boats heading through the bridge. Yeah, he doesn't need to open the bridges. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for tuning in for Scenes of this beautiful city. Welcome to Chicago. Yeah. And that's why I said, you know, I tell people, you know, and you guys like Chicago, you know, which I appreciate. Other people, they tune in. If they don't like Chicago, that's fine. But you got to admit, Chicago's interesting. This is interesting whether you like. You don't have to like our politics. And I'm not saying anybody does. But look, it's just sailboats going through a bridge. This is fun stuff, you know. I don't care where you're at, you know. And here, let's follow along here. We'll keep moving. It'll be interesting when they got to shut Ida B. Wells, which is Congress, used to be Congress. Ida B. Wells, that's where the Eisenhower Expressway, all that traffic from the Eisenhower Expressway travels through there on it, you know, and see all the traffic backed up here on Jackson Boulevard, heading towards the West Loop. And look, see how they got a map. They got a map of the river and an edge of the loop right there. Look at this perch. Yeah, let's go up on this perch. Look at that. Yeah. A 53-foot Viking yacht. Yeah, you have a tall mast there. Look at these sailboats coming through. You scratched my anchor. Old, is that from Caddyshack? Yeah. Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, Caddyshack, thanks. The infamous boat scene, yeah, when she christens the blue wisp, you know, and then it sinks, you know, yeah. That's awesome. I like the Jackson Street Bridge, Jackson Boulevard Bridge. Looks like most of the boats are through. They're waiting around for Van Buren here. We'll get a shot of Van Buren over here. That'll be a nice shot. Yeah, it was slippery. It was slippery crossing the bridge. It was slippery on some of the side streets. Yeah, and yesterday when I took the L home, I walked up the stairs to get to the State Street L station, and the stairs to the L train were really slippery. They didn't clean them off. There wasn't any salt. There's a tour boat going through, so they made way for the tour boat. And there, look. So look at this. So look at the full height of the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower, 1,400 feet tall plus. That's without the towers. And here's the Jackson Boulevard Bridge coming down here. This Bascule Drawbridge in Chicago. Look at that. And then we got look, they're lifting the Van Buren Street Bridge. Look at that. Wow, look at that nice scene. No respect, no respect. Here we go, look. There's the Jackson Street Bridge. And look, watch how fast they'll get this thing down, and then they'll open the gates. See, people are starting to gather. They're waiting to cross. The traffic's ready to go. As soon as they get this thing down, and this is a Bascule bridge, there's counterweights. You see how they lift, they lower one side first, and then they ease down, and then once it matches up, almost immediately, usually, they lift the gates. Look at the Van Buren Street Bridge in the upright position, 45-degree angle. Look at that. Here we go. Let's see how long it takes for them to let people walk across here. Hey, you hopped the turnstile. Yeah, that's the way to snatch it. Stow away a ride. Look at that. Yeah, they're still lowering it. So they're easing it down, easing it down. See, you can see the bridge operator in the bridge house there. They're actually manually operating this thing. The race is on. Yeah, they're everybody's. It's like the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. And I know if I pan over here, they'll lit it up. Look at that. The Van Buren Bridge in the upright position. Jackson just closed. See, they make sure they got it level here. There, we're looking north. That's Union Station's right there. There's looking south. South branch there towards Van Buren. Taking longer. It's because the other one they opened right away. This one they're taking a lot longer to ease it down, making sure it's lined up right, get everything balanced. What I really want to see is them open. See, the traffic's still moving on the I.W. Wells Bridge. Here we go. They're lifting the gates. Here they're lifting the gates on the other side. So they're letting people on the other side walk across. But the gates are still closed on this side. So when they get to this side, look at these people running. They're running to catch a train probably. But the gates are still closed on this side. So are they going to have to do the limbo? How are they going to get off? They open the gates on the eastern side, but they haven't opened the gates. And look, somebody jumped the gate. They're going around the gates. So people are, and look, they closed them back down. So people are already, they jumped the gates and now they're going back up. Now they're going back up. What's going on? They lost control. They lost control. Trains, planes, and cars. Yeah. They're lowering the. They're lowering there. There they lifted. They just lifted the gates. So there everybody can cross and the traffic can cross. But look, they're lowering the Van Buren Street Bridge there. Look at that. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. So we are seeing some bridge lift today. We're already south of the Sears Tower, and they're starting to ding the bell for the I.W. Wells Bridge, which is behind the Van Buren Bridge. There's that's what's closing. That's the Van Buren Bridge, and behind it is the I.W. Wells Bridge. So we'll kind of zoom in from this vantage point, so I don't have to walk any further south, and see if we can get them lifting the I.W. Wells Bridge, because that's a huge bridge. See how they're easing down the Van Buren there. Here, we'll pan back out here. We'll go over this way. So traffic's moving on the Jackson Boulevard Bridge. And we'll zoom in here. And see how the South Loop skylines starting to expand. You know, there's several new towers there that never used to be there. I remember when River City was the only thing that was there. They added all these are newer buildings. Now that one's been there for a while, but we're looking south from Jackson Boulevard, and then we'll see if it looks like they stopped traffic for the I.W. Wells Bridge. And we'll see if they open it here while the boats are waiting. But while we're waiting here, I'll turn the comments back on. Yeah, I know that they some of the housing was named after that, and you know, they renamed Congress Parkway. I know some people, you know, everybody has different feelings about it, but it was to honor Ida B. Wells with all the great work that she did on multiple levels, you know. Here, they're letting people cross the Van Buren Bridge here. Here comes Wendella tour boat here going by. They're blowing the horn. Get out of my way. They're coming through. And look how on this building they got the nice map of the whole south branch of the Chicago River. There's the confluence. And you can see portions of the loop, the West Loop. It's a map on the side of this building. They added this a few decades ago. And it's a nice thing, you know. What time we got? 12:34. So let me tie my shoe here. Hold on a second here. I'm going to tie my shoe. So I'm going to bend down here. I'll try to maintain some sort of camera view for you while we tie my shoe. I got to use two hands here, and I can't set the gimbal down, and that's the problem. So bear with me one second. I'm going to tie my shoe here. There, you get a nice image of my shoe. I wish I could just set this somewhere. Let's see if I can set this somewhere. Hold on a second here. I can't set the gimbal down because it starts moving around. So I'm just gonna have to walk back with my hold on, let me tie my shoe here. I'm gonna really do it here. There we go. Thanks for letting me tie my shoe there. Sorry about that. And we'll walk across. I got to start heading back here so we get to work because it's going to take me a half an hour to walk through the loop. So we'll cross Jackson Boulevard Bridge here. At least we got to see some of the bridges. That's why I rushed down here. Thanks for staying on, everybody. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a shame that was tarnished. I know what you're talking about. But, you know, that's the lessons learned from our great experiment with public housing and how it was done in the 60s and 70s. Read American Pharaoh, the book about Richard J. Daley and the first Daley administration, how, it was the same time when they built all the highways and the vast urban renewal projects, all the buildings that were tore down to build the Kennedy, they were going to tear down the Polish cathedrals. And they rerouted the Kennedy to save some of those. They took the Dan Ryan and the Eisenhower, whole blocks for miles were destroyed. It upheaved, and then how Daley kind of built like Stateway Gardens and Robert Taylor homes. It was to warehouse the poor people from Bronzeville, which now Bronzeville was the Black Belt at that time, and keep them from moving into Bridgeport, which was the Irish neighborhood. And, that was the old neighborhoods that used to fight against each other, and then I still know Italian Americans, Chicagoans with Italian American heritage that still fault Daley to this day for destroying Little Italy to build University of Illinois Chicago. They destroyed Little Italy to build the University of Illinois Chicago and Taylor Street and all that. And that was urban renewal too, in the name of building a state-funded college system in Chicago. Here's the Sears Tower. See how they got this nice mural on the side of it. Am I zoomed out all the way? Hold on a second here. Let me zoom out. There we go. Yeah, do different honks. There's all these. But that's where the urban space food court is. Remember, we went in there. We went in there one day. We checked it out. We're heading east on Jackson. Here's the 311 South Wacker building. It says I'm here. Let's see if I can get in here because this is a really interesting lobby. And I filmed it before on TikTok. I think we lost the footage. And I'll try to sneak in here if they let me. There's a nice restaurant in here. And you see where we're at here. There were supposed to be 3 towers here. They only built one. It was at the boom of the late 80s. And that's why this is still an open plaza here. But it's a really interesting, this atrium that was supposed to connect all three of these things. So let's see if we can get in here. Yeah. Look at this space here. And so I'll travel down the escalator. Look. So we're in the 311 South Wacker building. And look at this beautiful restaurant. They got this fountain. And look at this atrium space here. Is that coming through okay? Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to film this at least while we were here. I don't get down this way too much. And they did a really good job. And if I go around this way, we'll film this fountain here. And look at that statue. That reminds me of Rockefeller Center for some reason. I don't know. But here, and then look at it this way. We'll go back up the escalator here. We'll go around this restaurant space. Oh, look at this nice fountain. Nice sculpture here. And we'll head right up the escalator, and then I'll turn around and get us a nice shot looking back when we go up the escalator. Pazzo's Restaurant, that's what this is. They got a little express over there. And then we can head right up the escalator here and film this thing. Is that nice? Thanks for tuning in. Scenes of the city here in Chicago. This restaurant's usually full every time I come through here. And then you can go up, if you go up to that'll take you to the elevator bank. And you see how there's wings on either side here. But there's the 311 South Wacker building. I don't know if I can get out over this way. Let's go out. Yeah, I think I can get out this way. We'll travel through here. Halstead Street Deli right here. Look at the nice lighting fixtures. And this was the boost, the optimism of the late 80s before the 87 financial crash. That's when all this capital built up, and they built all these amazingly postmodern skyscrapers with all this granite and expensive materials. Corporate America at its best. But then you come out and you see the Sears Tower. So we'll book it. I got 20 minutes to make it back to Michigan Avenue. You think I can do it? I don't know. But hey, we got to see some bridge lifts today. I'm out of breath. I was rushing and walking and talking. We were talking about the oldest street in Chicago. I'll have to look that up. Make sure we're getting it right. Ferris's dad, 333 West Wacker. Yeah, that's up there. Yeah, I think. But that was 311 South Wacker. So 311 South Wacker, and then there was 311 West Wacker. Wacker wraps around the loop, so it has east addresses, west and south, and it's really confusing because there's like a 111 East Wacker and there's a 111 West Wacker, and I'm sure they get their mail sometimes confused, you know. Here, Giordano's. Hey, look at the L. There's the brown line going across here. Scenes of the city. Yeah, it's at the corner of the bend. It's that one where it reflects Wolf Point there in Merchandise Mart. Yeah, that's the 333 West. That's that building. Yeah, I think it's now called Nuveen Investments. The Nuveen Investments is in that building now, but that wasn't always the case. And for the movie, it's stupid because they do the parade on They do the parade on Dearborn Street, right in front of the Chagall murals there at the Chase Plaza. That's where they do the Shaking a Baby parade for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And his dad looks out the window. So you would think his office would have been on Dearborn Street. But then, yeah, the address, they say, is that. So it just shows you movies always mess with your mind. Here's, look underneath. That's Wells Street looking north. We're underneath the Quincy stop here on the Brown line. It's actually at the Loop. But I guess the pink and the green, no, the green doesn't come this way. The pink and not all the train lines. Here, we'll go by the Chicago Board of Trade. the stream doing okay? It's doing okay on the 4G. That's okay. Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. The Fed speaks at 1 p.m. Central Time today. Let's see. The Fed. There's no way they're going to raise interest rates. The market's already ready to go back to the all-time highs. You think the Fed's going to hurt their precious market? No. I'm joking. I'm joking. What do I know? I'm not a financial expert. There's the L going by. Look at that. Yeah, it's not easy in the movies. The magic of movies. We're making movies right now. So here, let's head up. Let's go past the... I won't pass up an opportunity to go past the Rookery building. We don't have time to go inside, but we'll film the Wintrust Colonnade. We'll go by the Federal Reserve branch here in Chicago. I think they got a museum in here. Maybe we'll check that out sometime. They got a Federal Reserve museum about making money and what the Fed does. Here's the Rookery building though. Look how nice it looks. Burnham and Root. Frank Lloyd Wright redesigned the interior atrium, and another architect. Here's the Quincy. Look, Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, South Street. And we'll get a great view of the Board of Trade when I get a little further north. I got to get far enough away for it because we're filming the landscape here, but yeah, make the money. Remember Untouchables, they busted, they went in the basement in that movie right here. They remembered, and they were bootlegging liquor underneath these buildings for the movie, you know. But yeah, everything costs more. The hidden tax of inflation. Everybody complains about taxes and recession, but the hidden tax of inflation. The Federal Reserve can inflate our currency, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's to protect assets, so they can make sure the price of assets go up. But then we get the inflation, you know. So own assets, they'll inflate them. Here's the Board of Trade. Look at that. Look how nice that looks. I need to go a block further north. We can't get the whole thing in. It's hard on landscape here. We'll get back so we can see the Rookery with the Board of Trade. We're in the financial canyon of LaSalle Street here in Chicago. We're heading back from the bridge lift here. Thanks for tuning in. There's not much traffic on LaSalle Street because there's not many offices left here anymore. Everything's remote now. All these people work from their mansions in Barrington. But see, look at that. Look at the Board of Trade there. LaSalle Street, Chicago. That's a nice classic Chicago scene right there. Seen that in many movies. The Untouchables, Batman, Public Enemies. They use all that. That's used for so many movies for the 1920s. Marble in the South. This little street's called Marble. Look at that alley. But here we'll get up to Monroe, and I'll pan back and we'll get a nice view of LaSalle Street looking south. This is LaSalle Street looking north. BMO Capital Markets making moves. Yeah, not all our mansions. I know I shouldn't say that. I'm being facetious. I know Barrington's an older community. Yeah, it's like a little town, and then there's big estates. People moved out there because you could buy big bunches of land, and you know it's a nice area. Thanks for correcting me there. Look at this view to the Board of Trade. We got that tree in the way. If I get underneath this tree, maybe we'll get the whole thing here. There we go. That's the view we want. Look at LaSalle Street in all its glory. Chicago Board of Trade. All roads lead to the Board of Trade, the Federal Reserve, and Wintrust Bank there. Thanks for tuning in. So we'll cross the street here. We'll head across Monroe, and we'll get back to Michigan Avenue. What time we got? 12:48. Look at this plaza. There's a nice plaza here. We'll cross Monroe. Start cutting across. See, look, that's been driving around the loop. You know, someone's paying to have that drive around the loop, and have political messages, which is great. Free speech, you know. There, we'll head this way. We'll go by the Italian village here. So we're heading east on Monroe. We're in the loop of Chicago. Thanks for tuning in. I feel like this whole live, I'm just rushing around. I rushed over there to film those bridges. We barely got them, and then I'm rushing to get back. I couldn't pass up an opportunity to film inside the 311 South Wacker building. Threw off my time schedule. But someday we'll do the old post office. I've done the old post office. I think I got a rerun on TikTok, but no one can find it. And because it's buried way back and when I started my new account. And it just takes a long time to get over there, so I might have to ride a bike over there. If we do a live, we'll do the old post office, which is now, you know, there's a lot of offices in there. And here we'll go by, yeah, here's the Chase building, the center block of the loop here. We're crossing Clark Street at Monroe. There's Clark Street looking north, and Clark Street looking south. We'll go by the Italian village. We'll go by the Mark Chagall with a G, Chagall murals. We filmed them before. You can see it across the way behind the clock tower there. Oh, they still got the fountains on. They still got the fountains on in the Chase Plaza here. Look at the clock here. Yeah, let's head down this way. You got to go down some steps. The sunken plaza. Pedestrian use only. Okay. Clock in front of the bank. And there's the Mark Chagall mural. Four Seasons, I think that's what they call this. This beautiful mosaic here, and then you got the fountains on. And I got a YouTube where we walk around and take a look at this whole thing, so we'll just breeze by it here. The water's dripping. Look at this beautiful mural here on the Chase Plaza. And yeah, let's walk by here. We can kind of film it. Number One Beef. Yeah, Number One Beef. I forgot to mention Number One Beef. Thanks for helping me out. I'm rushing around here. I'm missing a lot of stuff. But look at that. All the colors. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting anecdotes about that thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when Ferris Bueller did the parade scene where he did Shaking a Baby, it was right. And then that's where the parade happened. And remember, in the movie, his dad looks out from an office window. It looks like he's looking down at the parade. And this is nowhere near the 333 West Wacker building. We're on Dearborn, by the Chase Tower. So, yeah, the magic of movies gets everything messed up. But this bike lane wasn't there when that movie was made. And they added that just like 10 years ago. The Big Chagall, yeah. We got the small Cheval with the V, and then we got the Big Chagall with the G. And that's why I messed up. I was saying Mark Cheval, and it's Mark Chagall. But, yeah, close, but no cigar. We'll cross Dearborn here. We'll head down Madison and head towards Michigan Avenue. Here's one South Dearborn. This was supposed to be really tall, but they scaled it back. So we'll head, we'll skip Daily Plaza for today because they're still setting up the Kris Kringle Market. They started setting up the Kris Kringle Market. We saw that yesterday. And hopefully pretty soon, maybe next week, we might be able to start touring that. And we'll see if I have a better connection here with my 4G hotspot in my pocket. Isn't that amazing, Chris? Yeah, I know what you mean. When they built the Sears Tower, the Aon building, and the John Hancock, they were so much taller than all the other buildings that it looks like Chicago only has 3 skyscrapers because they just dwarfed it, you know, especially the Sears Tower. And yeah, when you look at those old, how much more built up the downtown is, the Central Business District, the whole South Loop. Remember, even when I moved here in the late 90s, There was only like 2 little residential buildings in the South Loop. The South Loop was empty, you know, and all the South Loop, all the stuff they had in the South Loop, all the new towers along the river, the West Bank there along Wolf Point, none of that used to be there. And then they filled in a lot of this stuff here, you know. Even the Marina Towers, you know, that Marina Towers was one of the first things built on that side of the river there in River North. There was nothing over there, you know. And yeah, it's how much the skyline has grown since '85. Here, let me get out of the street here. We'll head up State Street for a little bit. Hey, there's some people walking on State Street. At least we'll see some pedestrian traffic here. Yeah, we passed the Italian Village, and someday I'll go inside. I went up the stairs one time and made it up, and then they were giving me the stink eye because I was trying to film in the restaurant, and they were like, you know, so I just walked up the stairs and went back down. But so we're heading north here on State Street. We got 12:54. We'll rush to get back to Michigan Avenue. Look, something's going on here. They got them surrounded. So we'll keep heading north. It looks like it's under control here. So we're all like lollygaggers just looking around here. But here we're already north of where the Carson Prairie Scott used to be, which is now the Gothic Target, and now we're crossing up into Marshall Field's, Macy's. I didn't even point out the Louis Sullivan, the beautiful facade there. I was too busy talking. This whole, I feel like I've been rushing this whole live, but thanks for being on. I appreciate it. We just rushed over to see the bridge lift. Hey, we got the light. We'll go under the trumpets here. Holiday trumpets. There's Block 37. See if the L goes by here. Yeah, look at the L. Right on cue, right on cue. Look at that, scenes of the city here. Hey, let's head over this way. So we'll leave State Street. Look how nice that looks. And we'll head over to Wabash here. Police convention. Yeah, they had that car surrounded. There was like 3 police cars in front of it, 1 blocking it in. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Yeah. Hello. Say hello to YouTube. Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, that's good. So we'll head over here to Wabash, see what's shaking. Got the nice view of the Millennium Park in the background. And maybe we'll see another train go by. Yeah, it looks like a different city. Isn't it amazing how much there's more people than ever that live in the Loop now. A lot of people live in the River North. There's been a lot built. More people than ever live in the South Loop. South Loop is still kind of quieter. There's not as much activity, especially at night on the weekends. But West Loop, the amount of development in the West Loop along Fulton Market, it just blows me away. Every time I go down there, there's a new construction crane. And if they build Lincoln Yards, and if they build the 78, the skyline will expand even more. It's just amazing, you know. So we'll get these facades here behind the L tracks. It's such an interesting vista here as we go north on Wabash. We're just east of Macy's. CM Punk, what is that? Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Dave, but thanks for the comment. Sounds like you're speaking in code language. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. But yeah, look at these facades. They saved these facades for when they built this heritage building that's condos, and then they saved these facades here on Jewelers Row. And here's Wabash along the L track. Such an interesting vista. And then, yeah, we're looking north. Of course, there's the Trump building lurking in the background. Lurking forever in the shot. But here we'll cross over here on we'll cross Randolph, and either we'll go up the lake or we'll make a right depending on when this light changes. Yeah, here's the Nederlander Joffrey Ballet. So I forgot to mention that the Nederlander, for Halloween, the Nederlander is haunted. And there, of course, it was called a different theater. I think it was called the Iroquois Theater when it was first built. And there was a horrible fire, and like 600 people or several hundred people died. And then they stacked the bodies in the alley behind it. So that alley is called like Dead Man's Alley or something. And, you know, so I forgot to mention that the Nederlander Theater is haunted too, along with the Congress Hotel. Just so many tragic accidents, like the Eastland disaster, and, you know, theater fires, you know, people jumping out of windows. Yeah, the Oriental Theater, they just changed the name. It was called the Oriental Theater. Now they call it the Nederlander. They just... Oriental has a lot of problems associated with it, and they decided for commercial reasons, I think, to rebrand it at some point. But yeah, you know, originally it was called the Iroquois Theater, and that would have probably had problems too, because the Iroquois lived in New York State, at least the 5 nations of the Iroquois, the 6 nations, because the Tuscarora joined them. But then it was called the Oriental Theater for years, and now they call it the Nederlander. So you could look it up on Wikipedia, or I'm sure there's some history. I don't know it off the top of my head. I've been rushing around, but we got to see the bridge lift. So at least we got to see something today. And, oh, sorry. And thanks for being on here. At least we got to see some bridge lift footage. Thanks for everybody for watching the reruns and commenting and watching the lives here. And we'll be back on TikTok tonight, and we'll keep on trucking. And eventually I'm looking into having a subscription option for YouTube. It'll be cheap. I'll keep it like really low, and you don't have to, you know, you can still watch for free. I'm all about free. I don't want to make anybody, but you know, I don't want to do subscriptions on TikTok because I'm still angry at TikTok for how they treated my subscribers the last time. And I don't know if that's just corporate America or TikTok specifically, you know. And but here we'll head up Michigan Avenue here. We just turned north from Randolph, and we'll head back into work here. Yeah, TikTok paid the first $6. I know. TikTok makes me nervous. I just do not trust TikTok. They have, to me, their brand has rubbed me the wrong way for multiple reasons. And it's not just the foreign spying, and which I'm very paranoid about that too. It's just how they can eject you from the island anytime for any reason. I checked my strikes today. I went to TikTok. I made sure I didn't have any strikes against my account. I made sure there was no complaints, you know. And thanks everybody for helping out. Thanks for following along. Thanks for checking out multiple platforms here. I'm on TikTok and YouTube. Thanks for following along. Sorry if I missed anybody's comments. I was really rushing to get around today. And we made some ground. Thanks, Tara. Tara, yeah, you know what's going on. And but hey, we found a workaround. We got it going here, you know. And so hey, thanks for finding value in this. Yeah, that's why we're trying to. I want to get that ad money from Google and YouTube, and I want to get, you know, have a subscription option. We'll do it on YouTube, and that's why we can do member only live streams in landscape, and it'll look really nice on the big screen there, and then won't have to worry about the trolls. And so we're working on it. We're close. Thanks everybody for being on today. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll be on TikTok tonight, and then we'll keep trucking from there. So have a great Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks. Yeah, monetize.